Definitely not good news, but as far as how harmful it is, we don't know that yet. It's very difficult to tell. What we do know is that Hold Security, a Milwaukee-based firm, posted this big flashy announcement on its website this morning saying, "You've been hacked." Now, the firm claims that 4.5 billion records were stolen, including 1.2 billion username and password combinations. And data was stolen from 420,000 websites, including the websites of possibly Fortune 500 companies. So it's a massive amount of data. But we should keep in mind that we don't know if financial data was stolen.
Well, I mean, that's a big question, right? Because if it's information about, say, what music you listen to or what dresses you're searching for online, it's not necessarily the same as actually getting your bank account numbers, your credit card numbers.
Exactly. Some personal information is a big deal. You don't want to lose your social security number. You don't want to lose identity theft information. But there is not reason to believe that this is financial information. So it could be a little bit hyped up.
Okay, stay with us, Shelby. I want to bring in Bloomberg News' Chris Strohm, who wrote the story for us on Bloomberg News. You know, Chris, any sense of what really these hackers were trying to go after here?
Well, apparently it was a crime of opportunity for these hackers. They were able to work in the underground and obtain data sets of username and passwords, and then they got access to a botnet, a collection of computers. And they sent out an automated code to essentially go knocking on as many doors as they could of companies and websites. And when the botnet reported back that there were vulnerabilities, they then went in and tried to extract the data. But it is really important to approach this with a lot of skepticism, because we haven't seen any companies come public yet to say that they lost user names and data, and it's not clear how valuable the information actually is.
Well, do companies have to come forward and say that? I mean, that's a question, right? You look at what happened with Target, and as I understand it, there's no actual protection, Chris, for the consumer. In other words, Target didn't have to inform the consumers. They wound up doing so in part because a reporter had learned about the breach, but they didn't have to. They weren't obligated to tell consumers. The banks that held those cards had to tell consumers. So, you know, might it take some time for the companies, if, in fact, they're willing to alert consumers in the first place?
Yeah, you're correct. There are some circumstances, such as state laws or healthcare records, in which companies are required to notify the victims. But you know, Target is a major example of a company that did come forward, and you know, the breach on Target was exposed, and so they had their back to the wall a little bit. But they did come forward and they began to talk about it, and you know, more and more companies are coming forward and talking about the breaches that they're experiencing. We just haven't seen it with this particular breach that has come to light now.
Yeah, it's clearly a wake-up call, I think, Shelby, for everyone to realize how vulnerable our information is.
It's a wake-up call, and I also want to point out that federal officials have told us they're not confirming or verifying this yet. So no need to panic, but we should definitely be aware.
All right, thank you.